Young people are really being put off driving these days, and you can't blame them, especially when you start to add up the huge sums of money that it would cost them to not only get to the point where they've got a driving license, but also then for the opportunity to actually own and run a car, particularly if you're in a big city like London. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll explain everything right after this.
A brown car guy.
So let me first share a few facts with you. The average monthly salary in the UK is £2,140. That's the average. That's not when you're young or when you're starting out. That's what they're saying is the average. That compares to the average new car price of over £30,000. And although they don't have it on here, I can tell you the average used car price now is about £17,000 here. Isn't that staggering? There's a study that's revealed that the UK is one of the least affordable European countries for owning cars, basically. And the findings, what they do is they're looking at things like the fuel prices, they're looking at vehicle taxes, insurance costs, as well as then comparing them to sort of living costs in the sense of what the average salaries are for people in those places. This study was conducted by vignetteswitzerland.com, and it actually looked at the most affordable and least affordable places or countries in Europe for owning a car. Now, the UK ranked 7th least affordable country for car ownership. So they had an index, and then the index scored it basically 3.1 out of 10. Yeah, just 3.1 out of 10. That's not great, is it? The research considered factors such as fuel prices, vehicle taxes, insurance costs, and they compared these to average salaries to assign each place a unique score to reveal where owning a car is the least financially draining for particularly younger drivers. Learner drivers is what they were looking at. But actually, I think it's even harsher, because you're going to be looking at used cars, £70,000, salaries of £2,000, talking way less than that. You'll be lucky if you're a young new driver and you're earning that sort of money with the way things are, especially at the moment. So if you've got a score, the higher the score, the better. The lower the score, the worse. This is how it worked out too. Car maintenance costs are another crucial factor which they included, and they looked at fuel prices. In the UK it's £1.26. Actually, you'd be lucky if you can find fuel for £1.26. I don't know where they got that from. Maybe when the report was done, I guess. It's more than that now. And the European average, however, was £1.18 at the time. So nearly 10 pence less than the UK. And guess which country was the best? The country that also just won Eurovision Song Contest, Switzerland. So we're looking at this list. Switzerland was the best country. And how did they work it out? What score did they get? Switzerland got 10. They got the full 10. Wow. The average monthly salary was €5,569. The average car ownership price was higher, much higher, €46,979. But somehow they reckon that it's topped the list as the most affordable European country for car ownership. Despite its high standard of living, Switzerland provides affordable car ownership options with the lowest expenses associated with fuel, taxes and insurance. So that's where it brings that whole thing down. I'm going to give you the top 3 on this. Actually, let me give you the list first. So I'll give you the full list, right? We have, at number 2, we have Republic of Ireland. They got 7.72. We got Luxembourg at 6.83. Then we had France at 5.43, and in 5th place was Spain at 5.18. And then we had Netherlands at 5. We had Austria at 4.9. Then there's Denmark at 4.69, Germany at 3.95, and Italy at 3.84. But don't forget, if you think those are bad, we didn't even make it into the top 10. We were 3.1 out of 10. So imagine, we were way down. Ireland was second. The Republic of Ireland, I should say. Republic of Ireland was second on this list at 7.7 out of 10. And country's monthly average gross salary was €3,367. Average price of car was $30,495. Annual vehicle tax $2,438. So it all sounds quite high, but it's a competitive market, so apparently they did quite well. So not all of this actually makes sense when you look at the numbers. Because even in Luxembourg, you look at the average price of a car, it's 39,380 euros. But the salaries are higher, 3,700. So that's kind of how they sort of work it out. There's sort of all these different computations that they're using. But it doesn't bode well, basically. So even with our neighbors, France, similar salary, 2,464 euros. Average car price again similar, 29,331. Average vehicle tax 1,911 euros. But somehow they manage 5.4 out of 10. Because the country offers reasonable expenses associated with fuel prices, vehicle taxes and insurance. This is what's killing us here in the UK. Right, so at the other end of the scale, you had Norway, Finland and Turkey. Norway had a score of, oh my god, 0.76. Wow, that's not good. That's really bad. So that's really bad. Finland had a score of 0.57. And Turkey stands out as the least affordable with an index score of 0. So they're giving Turkey 0. So that's the Switzerland and Turkey at each ends.
Hey, are you liking this video? Then make sure that you hit the like button. That's really important. Also, tell everybody.
So there you go. I mean, that's the reality of where it stands for people in Europe. And I think that fundamentally, you know, we are having a big problem for the car industry, for the car culture, and especially for younger people wanting to learn, drive and own cars. It's completely different to, like, you know, how long have I been driving? Well over 35 years, that's for sure. And it was completely different at that time, you know. I think my driving lessons cost about £10 an hour. I passed first time. I bought a £400 Ford Cortina off a bloke down the market, which turned out to be a piece of junk, but it, you know, it was alright. It's my first car. Hated it in a while because it kept breaking down on me, but you know, it's my first car. But you could do it, you know. Insurance probably costs, you know, a couple £100 or so, and off we went, you know. Fuel was cheap. You could park anywhere. That was in London. That was in central London. It's a different time, man. Different time. But now, unfortunately, it's really, I mean, to be honest, like I feel for people. I feel for younger people. It's just really hard to justify. It's just really hard to justify the cost of it, to get a car, to even to learn to drive. Driving lessons are over £40 an hour now. You know, and you need what? How many of them? 60? 50, 60? Driving tests are almost impossible to get now. Apparently there's a whole bunch of scam going on with driving tests where, you know, they're all being pre-booked because it was so hard to get them after the pandemic, because there was such a backlog that was, you know, going into like 6 months to a year, that now basically there's a black market in driving test allocations. Can you believe it? Yeah, that's what's happened. It's just absolutely crazy. But it all seems to lead to one thing. It all seems to be designed to lead to one thing, and that is to discourage driving and car ownership. And sadly, that's the way things are going. Love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. I'm sure I will.
Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does. Check this out, guys. It's my book. It's my first novel, and it's written for car fans like you. It's a fun political action thriller. It's full of cool cars and spectacular action. Get your copy now at Amazon.com.